Thank you so much for joining Optimistic Opportunities today. We are having a little difficulties, but it seems to be working because I can see it on our phone. So yay, good deal. Hey, Griffin.
Hi.
Thanks for hanging in there when we're trying to figure this out.
Oh, no problem.
Griffin is a family support worker with a Center for Child and Family Health. She is also the mother of a friend of my daughter's. So this will be really fun. I'm so excited about having Griffin here because when we first met, when our kids became friends, we went out to dinner and we just laughed and laughed and laughed and just cracked jokes and had the best time. It was so fun. I was like, oh my gosh, she is so cool and so positive, so fun. She just laughs her way through it, which is so cool, which is definitely my mantra. And I also was really interested about having Griffin in the show today because of her profession of, working for the Center for Child and Family Health and her, her personal view of, getting us through these challenging times and what tools she has. So without further ado, what is requiring your focus more than you had anticipated?
Probably the whole kind of various roles that I'm having to play now. I've been working remotely at home since March, and will probably continue to be doing that for the foreseeable future. And it's just, I've got two school-age boys at home that are attempting to do their homeschooling. So just the multiple roles that I've been having to play over the past several months, it's definitely brought forth a lot of frustrations, challenges, stress, anxiety, all of the above. And it's probably taking more time with the school aspect than I had anticipated. I'm very fortunate that I've got two, great kids that can adapt very easily, to new situations and things like that. But that's just probably been more of a challenge, probably the school aspect, and then doing work from home because I'm used to going into clients' homes and doing home visits with them and their babies. And all of those visits have been all virtual or Zoom or WebEx meetings. So that's presented its own set of challenges.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would think that technology might change your profession in some way. And I'm not going to talk about work, but I think one of the most interesting things about what I call this reset is that it's presented us new ways to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And, I wonder if, different professions will use, virtual connections more and included with, in-person visits as well. But
sure. Well,
I
think
I
think it's showing a lot of us that work can be done remotely. But like you said too, there are a lot of adaptations and adjustments that you have to make. But so far, so good. It's gotten a little bit easier as we've moved forward. So yeah.
So how are you keeping in touch with people?
So social, I'm a very social person. So having connections with other friends, neighbors, has always been important from the get-go. Early on during the pandemic, we would kind of do driveway hangouts with neighbors, and just space chairs so far apart and things like that. So we've been able to to maintain that with a small group of neighbors. And then also both of my children are involved in baseball. So that has actually been going on pretty regularly for the past few months. And that's been also kind of the saving grace, is knowing that I have those families with which to just communicate with, see on a regular basis. So that's been very, very helpful. And it's been helpful not only to me, but to the kids as well, to kind of maintain that little bit of normalcy, I guess, and being able to physically see some of their friends and counterparts and things like that. And then I also have a group of ladies that I do as a weekly Zoom call with.
Oh, cool.
So we have our little happy hour and it works out great. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yes.
I need to do that.
Yeah, that's being the connection with other people's really helped save me, I guess, kind of from all of this pandemic madness.
Strangely enough, doing this every week at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays is like my weekly connection time, where I know I have this time to be with somebody and connect with somebody I know really well, or know a little bit, and get to know them a little better.
Sure.
So yes, this is here to provide tools for other people and help other people, but it really helps me a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Because I actually I look forward to it now that I'm past the like nervous part of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is gonna be so fun. What are we gonna say? We got to connect. What's gonna happen? So
Awesome. It's always good to have something to look forward to.
and Olivia, I've been really proud of her, how she has really Olivia's my daughter, how she has really taken to, doing stuff more on her own. But she also stays very connected with her friends through her laptop and her phone. And boy, are we happy we got her a laptop and a phone less
Sure.
than a year ago before all this started. So that's been real good. We haven't done a lot of connections out. We've done some. We don't have any regular sports things or anything. But she's starting up with voice lessons and volleyball private lessons, because volleyball is very at risk for COVID. So she chose not to do that. But she gets to do the connection through, one-on-one time with a voice teacher and a volleyball coach, and
Oh, that's great.
maybe a piano teacher as well. So
Okay. Just little things like that can make a big
little
difference.
stuff like that weekly you get to look forward to. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So anything that's been surprising about this time for you?
Probably learning that I need a lot more patience. I know that I'm not the most patient person, and if you ask most people that know me pretty well, they would probably say that I am the least patient person that they know. But I've had to really, what's that?
He's in a pod.
Yeah, I've really had to learn, and I'm still learning. I mean, it's a continual thing, but just learning how to kind of just chill out, like just step back a minute and just kind of let things happen. With work and with school and, with just every other responsibility that I have. Just patience is not an easy thing. And it's still, like I said, kind of just a learning thing for me. Sometimes I have to take walks. I'll just go out and take a quick walk, listen to some music, or sit outside. It's been so pretty lately that I've been sitting outside quite a bit just to get some fresh air and to kind of decompress a little bit. So yeah, that's probably, it's not surprising, I guess, to say that about the lack of patience, but it's surprising me that if I slow down and kind of take my time, then I feel like the impatience doesn't get out of hand.
Right.
I guess. So yeah, I'm still a work in progress, I guess you could say.
Right. Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? That is for darn sure.
Yeah, and it's, the one thing that I always try to remember is to go outside, and I'll go through a whole day and I'll be like, I haven't gone outside yet today. I got up, I started going, and I forgot to stop. I'm like, it's 5 o'clock. I was like, oops.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, what did I just do? So,
or just little breaks throughout the day, I think have been very helpful to me specifically.
like some things that are surprising to me, although I tend to use my drive time to call people and stuff like that, is that, the productivity level of work has gone up so much tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing that I've heard as a constant from a lot of people. So one thing that's been surprising for me, is not to talk about work, but is the number of employers that are okay with people working from home.
Sure. Yeah.
And what I hear is like the employees, I think, are probably even more productive, and they seem to be a little happier. There's not as much office politics to deal with.
Right.
It's sort of like, wow, how's this going to play out?
Uh-huh. I very much agree with that. I think that the people are more content with being at home and kind of doing things kind of in their own time and in their own space. And I think too, I agree that employers are probably thinking that, hey, that we can probably make this work down the line as well. So we were actually thinking about doing a little bit more work from home. We were kind of transitioning into that a little bit before COVID hit. So I'm thinking that it's really going to show them now that it is possible, with a few tweaks, of course, here and there. But yeah, I think that it's going to work, and I'm enjoying actually being at home now. I kind of shudder to think how it's going to be if and when I do go back to the office. That's going to be an even bigger adjustment, I think. So
right, and I've been thinking about that as like, going back to the office. Well, I have to get ready and shower and dress and drive.
Who wants to do that? Who wants to do that?
I'm like, why am I doing all of that?
Yeah.
But I've got someone I work with, and he was saying how important it is for us to be together, and I was like, I agree. That's an important time for us to have together. I was like, well, maybe we could just set like a couple hours aside every week as a regular office hours where we know we're socially distancing in that office from each other, but are together in the same room. I was like, yeah, we could probably do that. That shouldn't be a problem. But it's sort of interesting to just sort of think about like how going to the office made me more motivated to do my work before. And I felt like I needed to separate myself. Then I came home, I would try not to work. And boy, that's really funny as a realtor to not work when you're home. Right. So insert laughter there. And so now it's just kind of like, I try to stop working, but it's gotten busier. So it's kind of continues. But it's interesting to think about like, what would it be like for me to be in the office? Does that still motivate me? So it really sort of surprises me that I can stay very on task and motivated at home, where before I didn't feel as much on task and
of course
motivated and focused at home. But now I feel very motivated, focused, and on task. And I'm like, that's sort of surprising.
Yes. Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. And, we're lucky enough to have space where we can separate ourselves and have our own workspaces in the house. So that's good.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for the people that don't have all those separate spaces.
True. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't really know exactly what time we started, but we have just powered through those 3 questions. You get 5 gold stars today, Griffin.
Awesome. Yay. Well, thank you so much again for having me. I do appreciate it. It was nice to talk to you.
You're welcome. It's always good to see you and talk to you. Next week, Jennifer Fly will be our guest. She was our advertising assistant at my last job, the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. So we know each other incredibly well. It shall be interesting next week. She's at the beach this week, enjoying herself and working from the beach like I did. Copycat. And but it's good to keep yourself motivated and have a different point of view sometimes if you can, and work somewhere else. So we'll be here on Facebook, hopefully business or personal, I don't know. We'll see what the software lets us do. But thank you so much. And like I always say, let's help one another and be there for each other. So you all have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.